One of Madeira's most famous exports is its wine, and its history is a prestigious one. Production began in 1455, and it was poured to toast the signing of the Declaration of Independence. If it was good enough for Thomas Jefferson, it's good enough for me. On 500 hectares of volcanic soil, located primarily on the north coast, vines teeter precariously on death-defying slopes. 6 grape varieties are grown here, and they're all harvested by hand. Umberto, it's incredibly atmospheric up here.
Yes, it is. In fact, this is a vineyard we have for many years. This belonged to the family, to the Enriques. We started again with this in 1995 when we first planted Verdelho.
Now, you're the only wine producers that own your own vineyards?
Yeah. Traditionally, the Enriques were exactly wine growers, and they sold their must to the British families, which in the past have made the internationalization of the Madeira business. After 1850, they established themselves the business, and they brought it to what it is today.
I believe there is a link with Gibraltar. Enriques and Enriques have a link. Explain.
There is. In fact, the last of the Enriques, João Joaquim, he didn't have heirs, so he passed the company to his 3 best friends, and one of them, Peter Cossart, was married with a woman from Gibraltar.
So this was Marjorie's husband and her son. So her son used to work with you.
Also, after Peter Cossart, who was the winemaker in those days, and he stayed in the company for 53 years, he passed to his son, Peter Cossart also.
Yes.
Who worked with me for many years until 2008 when he passed away.
After harvesting the grapes, the wines are fortified, heated to 45 degrees centigrade, and left to rest for several years.
Shall we start?
Yes.
Okay. So we'll have an idea of what a silky wine, very nice in terms of residual sugar. It's balanced, the acidity, the 74 grams of residual sugar. So it's quite an overwhelming wine. This is a clear example of the impression of the wood on this wine.
I was going to say, does it have a whiskey?
It's not the whiskey, it's the old barrel influence. Yeah. This is a wine which concentrated so that it increased the density, and now you have a lot of saliva in your mouth that's balancing the acidity that we have put inside. You see?
Yeah, that is quite an instant physical reaction.
You have flavors, it's like what you have got on your nose when you have first scent, then what you have in the mouth, and the experience of the lingering. It's there, it's all in the same sense. You have the consistency of your information towards nose, mouth, and what you have swallowed. It's exactly the same, you know.
It's warming, but it's very gentle. I find it's a very gentle effect.
This is 20% of alcohol, so you feel that flash.
Yes, yeah. Well, they're all 20% of alcohol, you told me, so it's something that you drink.
Let's change a little bit, probably, for this experience on the 50-year-old. This is, again, a wonderful wine. The color is beautiful.
It's beautiful. I mean, that was a lot more golden, but this is...
It's got scented. Now you will feel some other This is minimum 50 years. This wine is from 1952, originally. Does it deserve the wine of the year in Oporto?
Yeah, you bet it
wow
does.
wine.
You bet it does. Yeah, that is a wow wine. I was holding back from saying wow. I've been using it a lot, but that deserves a big wow.
You know what my problem is here? This is a limited edition. We don't have much of it. And
very highly
fortunately
sought
on one
after wine.
side, there's an incredible demand for this wine. We're almost selling it all. But anyway, this will be a register to the future of H&H, because this was a wine which made the difference. You see the point?
Yes, it marked a turning point for you, didn't it?
Absolutely. You tell me what you find about this wine. I will even not drink it all, because
okay,
that's a choice of the gods.
This is a lot darker in color, so it's got that caramelly, treacly. It's a beautiful, and the way it catches the light is absolutely stunning. Okay. It's got a very different nose to the others.
Absolutely, yes.
Very different nose.
This is Malvasia, the grape.
Yeah.
First one is Tinta Negra, so the differentiation comes to be into the different kind of grape.
Yeah.
And then aged. This is a kind of thing which also gives the notice of what was in the past. So we are what we were to become what we are. And sort of saying that if we would lose all of these dates in the catalog of the collectors, then the history of H&H would be also lost. So drinking it is important, obviously, for you to have an idea of what it is. But throwing the bottle away, it's throwing history away also.
Yeah. I think that's a very interesting ethos that Humberto's just mentioned there. We are what we were to become what we will be and what we are in the future. And you know, he's using that in comparison to these wines, or in direct relation to these wines, but it can be used in comparison to the way that we have lived our lives and the way our experiences make us what we are today. And I believe that you know, we don't have ancestral links in Madeira, but certainly the Gibraltarians' time in Madeira for 4 years shaped the way a lot of the women in particular thought, and perhaps the way they perceived life and the way they went on to live their lives. My experience has been my family members, their women were very, very strong and very independent. And I feel that living here in Madeira certainly influenced that. You can't come to Madeira and not catch a ride in one of their cable cars. They're seen all over the island, and they're an incredibly efficient way of avoiding the mountainous climbs, because everything is up a very, very steep hill. But it's also a wonderful way to appreciate the views. What goes up must come down, and in Monte, the most exhilarating ride down is in a wicker toboggan. It's really slippery road, isn't it? From the rubber, no? So this is a very old tradition, isn't it? Yes, this is over 100 years old.
Yes, yes.
They were explaining to me that this all started with a crazy idea of a crazy man. They used to carry physically all the wood and fruit and vegetables that were being cultivated up in the mountains down into Funchal. And one day this man got into his basket and just rode down the hill, and that's how it all started. How do you get back up? You don't walk up, do you?
Far away there is a star, raining through the night sky like a drug. Give 'em all peace of mind.
corn. And they dry it out. You can see it hanging around different cottage windows all throughout the countryside. And then they grind it up. And what they make is corn flour. There were times in which Madeira was struck by poverty, and this is basically this was the main staple of their diet. But now here it's been treated and given a bit more of an exotic flavor. So we're making like a corn flour soup, like a sauce. But this is something that reminds me of my father. When my mother used to be out at night and she was rehearsing for a play, especially in the final stretch when she'd be out for 7 days, it was wonderful. We loved it because my father made us maicena every night for dinner, except he'd add chocolate. It's thick enough, está listo? See? This is hard work, this is hard going. It's actually really, really thick. Oh, yes, please. Thank you. Francisco, it's good. Really good. I don't know why we've never used this as an actual soup type thing rather than just a sauce thickener.
Está pronto a servir.
It's ready to serve. Let's go for it. That smells delicious. It's incredible, isn't it? The simple corn, and that you can produce something as spectacular as that with just this. That's female ingenuity is what that is. When times are hard and you haven't got a lot to feed your family with, you know, they come up with all sorts of ideas and concoctions to make the food tasty as possible.
These retired gentlemen meet weekly. They dine, reminisce, and enjoy each other's company. Most of these men fought in the bloody Angolan War, and these encounters are a form of catharsis. I feel privileged to be here.
It's very, very good. It works really well with the tuna, doesn't it? What is that you're adding? Oh, yes, please.
Very strong.
It's very strong.
Yeah.
So you add it to the... Okay. So just a little bit, yeah? Over the tuna.
Guarda, Paula, lei è italiana.
Italiana. Tengo familia, bueno, la familia de mi padre, el antepasado eran de Venecia.
Possiamo parlare in
From
italiano?
Venice.
Voleva imparare a parlare italiano?
No, no parlo italiano. Parlo un mamarracho de todo, una mezcla de todo. Usted me han dicho que usted se acuerda, you remember, the Gibraltarian women?
Ja, sobre as Gibraltinas.
Yes.
Eu recordo da era many pretty women.
Many beautiful women. That's la impresión, that's what people remember. They were beautiful women.
And they are very amusement.
Elegantes.
They had joie de vivre. They were fun-loving. They enjoyed life.
Eram bonitas, elegantes e divertidas.
Very pretty girls.
And they were fun, weren't they?
Very funny.
Yes.
E depressa,
Very soon, they
envolveram-se na
become
sociedade.
integrated in the society.
Faz atenção.
Usted dijo que las gibraltareñas se infiltraron en la sociedad aquí, pero eso claro es porque la sociedad
E nós próprios também.
le dejó, ¿no? They encouraged them with open arms.
Foi de parte a parte.
Yeah, it works both ways, of course.
Então, e a juventude, então, nos hotéis, nos bailes, na vida.
Golden Gate Cafe, they used to go. Por el Lido se paseaban en los bikinis y fumaban. They used to smoke in the cafes, which at the time was a bit of a shock to other women here.
E eu concertamos começavam a observar e tal, mas olho.
What she said there. And they used to look.
Start staring at the girls.
Of course.
After all, if it was 10 years more,
Yeah, my granny, when she was here, she was 16, 17, so of course there were a lot of beautiful young ladies around. I'm really enjoying this, apart from the wonderful company. Thank you for the wonderful company, but this is...
You like this food?
I love it, yes. And a very nice wine. The joy that I can feel around this table is wonderful. And certainly helped by the wonderful food and wine that we're sharing.
Friend of mine.
Yes, thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Cheers.